There was a time when K-pop felt untouchable. The third generation, the golden era of K-pop, gave us everything. Global breakthroughs, iconic stages, songs that defined an entire decade. We're talking EXO's Monster, BTS's DNA, Blackpink D4, Twice Cheer Up. Moments so culturally massive, they turned K-pop from a genre into a global phenomenon. But when the dust settled, a new wave was already forming. Because just like how second-gen idols built the foundation and third generation expanded the empire, fourth-gen came in to rewrite the rulebook. The fourth-gen classics are the songs that rewrite fandom culture, turned rookie groups into icons overnight, and made half of us question if we were witnessing history or just having a mental breakdown at 3 a.m. over a bridge. They didn't just want fame, they wanted to redefine what K-pop could sound and look like. While third-gen chased identity, fourth-gen chased domination. They blurred the lines between music, fashion, storytelling, and fandom culture. Every comeback wasn't just a release, it was a universe, a movement, a statement. And that's what made this generation legendary in its own right. This is K-pop 4-gen classics, the era of noise music. It was experimental, it has unmatched visuals, pure pop's insanity, and borderline illegal for how catchy it was. And it marked the start of an era. It has moments that capture the chaos, the creativity, and the confidence of a generation that refused to live in anyone's shadow. And we love every second of it. We can't talk about classics and not talk about the debut that shook an entire generation. When ITZY came out in 2019 with Dalla Dalla, it wasn't just a debut, it was a cultural awakening. Like JYP said, you want girl crush, you want empowerment, you want chaos, and ITZY said yes, all of the above. They didn't tiptoe into K-pop, they kicked the door screaming I love myself, and that is how you announce yourself to the world. Dalla Dalla sounded like no other debut at the time. EDM, check. Hip-hop, check. Random breakdown that feels like your Spotify glitch, also check. This song had no chill, and that's exactly why it worked. They weren't here to sound pretty, they were here to sound powerful. It was messy, it was loud, and it was iconic. The moment they yelled, I love myself line, it became the self-love anthem of the generation. The message was girl power, but make it loud, because Dalla Dalla wasn't about crushes or heartbreak, not that those are bad things, but it was about loving yourself in a world that keeps trying to tell you not to. They made confidence cool, and honestly, that became their brand. Teen crush energy that's bold, love with attitude. Because when this song dropped, people didn't just listen, they reacted. Some said it's too noisy, others said it's weird, but guess what? Everybody was talking about this song because their performance and charisma was unmatched. ITZY didn't debut like rookies, they debuted like they already been headlining award shows for years. They didn't just perform Dalla Dalla, they embodied it. And that's why it went viral, smashed debut records, and made ITZY of the fourth generation girl groups overnight. Dalla Dalla literally set the tone for the fourth gen. It's loud, confident, and full of main character energy. After this, K-pop girl groups weren't afraid to be bold or experimental anymore. If Blackpink made girl crush cool, ITZY made teenage self-love cool. They made confidence the trend, not just the concept. Dalla Dalla defined what fourth gen K-pop would be. It broke the mold sonically and conceptually. It created an identity that other groups still reference today. So yeah, some songs debuted, Dalla Dalla arrived. It was loud, fearless, chaotic, empowering, and completely ITZY. A fourth gen classic that proved from day one, ITZY didn't just start the fourth gen, they defined it. When the Sserafim dropped Antifragile, they didn't just release a banger, they released a statement. Because at that time, they were fresh out of an underwhelming debut to many, and they just lost a member due to a huge controversy. And we were all watching to see if they'll crumble or come back stronger, and they did. They crumbled, rebuilt, and came back with rhythmic trauma therapy in the form of reggaeton beats. This song is literally empowerment on beat. It's not I'm fragile but okay. It's break me, I dare you, I'll respond stronger. If the song was already powerful, the choreography made it legendary. Every step screamed unbothered excellence. It's confident without being over-rehearsed. It was giving, we practiced this 10,000 times but still look effortlessly cool doing it. And here's the thing, you can tell a song's a classic when it leaves the K-pop bubble and becomes a cultural phrase. Everyone and their cousin were talking about the song, don't lie. K-pop idols were singing to it, creators remixed it, and suddenly that Antifragile line became one of the most recognizable hooks in modern K-pop. And for a girl group less than a year into their career, that's unheard of. Even years later, Antifragile feels fresh, and that's the mark of a true fourth-gen classic. It didn't rely on trends, it created one. It's a perfect snapshot of what 4Gen stands for: imperfection, risk taking, individuality, and narrative. Every successful group has that one song that defines their essence. For Sserafim, this was it. It was the anthem that said, "We're not breaking, we're evolving." So when we talk about K-pop classics, specifically 4Gen, we're not just talking about chart numbers or TikTok virality. We're talking about songs that change the energy of the scene. And Antifragile did exactly that. It redefined what strength looks like in a girl group. It's not perfect or has spotless image. It's growth, grit, and groove. And we love it. And my dear, it aged like fine wine. God's Menu dropped in 2020. This song flipped the entire K-pop scene. Nobody, and I mean nobody, was ready for the sheer chaos, confidence, and charisma that Stray Kids brought to the table. To many of us, this was just a simple Stray Kids comeback, but little did we know we're about to see the moment Stray Kids stop chasing trends and start defining them. God's Menu isn't just a hit song, it became one of the most legendary K-pop songs that changed the game forever. God's Menu is sonic insanity in the best way possible. Produced by Three Racha, the Genius Trio, Bang Chang, Changbin, and Han, this track was experimental yet perfectly structured. You've got that industrial beat, the metallic percussion, and that iconic beat that sounds like it's sizzling in a kitchen full of chaos. But here's the secret ingredient. It wasn't noise for the sake of noise. Every sound had purpose, every drop built tension. It felt like a high-end recipe only Stray Kids could cook, hence God's Menu. The song literally created its own subgenre, culinary trap, core noise pop excellence. If we're talking 4Gen performance, it's everything. God's Menu didn't just sound powerful, it looked powerful. The choreo was sharp, precise, and perfectly synced with the beat. And the way they delivered it with so much confidence, it could season an entire meal by itself. Every line in this song feels like a flex. It's not cocky, it's conviction. They're saying our art isn't for everyone, but if you get it, you're eating good. That's why years later, when people talk about performance kings of the 4Gen, this song is always or usually brought up. Heck, they have the most viewed studio tune of all time with 75 million views. That shows how legendary the performance is. And here's where God's Menu truly cemented its legendary status. When it dropped, it was a turning point for Stray Kids, but for 4Gen as a whole. This song took them from underrated to undeniable. It became their identity, loud, creative, self-produced, fearless. It marked the start of a domination, the sound that carried into Backdoor, Thunderous, and Maniac. Every new boy group debuting after 2020, you could hear a trace of God's Menu in your DNA. Come on now, don't lie. You know it's true. The visuals, the red chef suits, the mixing kitchen, the cinematic transitions, it was a masterclass in concept execution. A Kpop classic isn't just a song people liked, it's a song that defined an era, and God's Menu is that song. God Menu did three things that made it timeless. One, it created a distinct identity for Stray Kids that no one else could replicate. Two, it redefined the 4Gen sound. It shifted how people viewed noise music in K-pop, turning chaos into art. Three, built a bridge between self-produced authenticity and mainstream success. When people talk about 4Gen anthems, God's Menu has to be on that list. It's the national anthem for noise supremacy, and that cemented them as a blueprint. So yeah, while some songs get popular, God's Menu got legendary status. It's loud, it's chaotic, it's confident, it's Stray Kids in their purest form. And that's why in the cookbook of 4Gen classics, God's Menu will always be the main course. Eugene's Ditto is a song that changed everything. When Eugene's dropped Ditto, it became the softest cultural reset of late 4Gen K-pop. This wasn't a comeback, it was a moment in time. It's a song that quietly redefined what the 4Gen classic sounds like. Eugene's took Y2K nostalgia, Gen Z emotion, and K-pop minimalism and turned it into magic. Where most 4Gen hits chase power and noise, Ditto whispered. No heavy drop, no EDM climax, just a looping drum pattern, an ethereal synth, and that aching sense of distance. Ditto literally redefined what a hit could sound like. It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, it was quiet, nostalgic, intimate. And yet, it dominated every chart. It became the blueprint for minimalist emotional pop. It was K-pop stripped down to its emotional core. Proof that a song doesn't need to scream to stay in your head. The music video turned Ditto into art. Shot like a found footage film, it blurred the line between memory and reality. We see the girls through the eyes of Bang Hee-soo, a fictional fan or maybe a ghost of their past. It's nostalgia in motion. The deer in the snow, which signifies from the New Jeans perspective, is interpreted as a symbol for New Jeans themselves as fans approach them out of love, but there's a distance that can be frightening. The camcorder shots, the empty classroom, every frame feels like you've been there before, even if you haven't. And that's genius. It's personal and universal at the same time. It defined 2023-2024 emotional aesthetic. Even if you didn't stand, you felt Ditto. It was on TikTok reels, edits, playlists. Literally, you cannot escape it. It was everywhere. When Ditto dropped in December, it became the winter soundtrack of Korea. The song topped charts for months, broke melon records, and sparked an entire aesthetic revival. Vintage, filters, muted tones, school nostalgia. And it wasn't just music, it was a shift many groups after this started chasing, the New Jeans formula. Understated visuals, retro warmth, and minimalist beats. In a generation obsessed with being louder, New Jeans proved that quiet could be revolutionary. To be a classic, a song needs timelessness. Ditto isn't tied to trends, it creates them. It's not a hype anthem, it's an emotional timestamp. Every listen feels like watching an old home video, something real, something fleeting. So yeah, let's call it what it is. Ditto is the anti-noise anthem. While everyone else turning up the volume, New Jeans turned the emotion. It had timeless sound, iconic aesthetic, massive cultural impact, emotional chokehold. Ditto proved that fourth generation doesn't have to scream to be powerful. Sometimes it just needs to whisper reminiscence and emotionally damage you with a subtle synth. If OMG was the viral moment, Ditto was the soul, and that's why it's a certified fourth-gen classic. Gee, I wonder why they aren't making music like this again. Oh wait.
I'm on the next level. 저 너머의 문을 열어 next level 널.
Next Level made K-pop entered a whole new dimension, literally. A blend of sci-fi, storytelling, experimental production, and fierce female energy that redefined what a girl group sounds like in the fourth generation. Seriously, when Aespa said they were taking K-pop to the next level, they weren't kidding. So, Next Level is basically 3 songs duct taped together, and somehow it slaps. It starts as a fierce hip-hop anthem, takes a left turn into a smooth R&B section, then it ends with what sounds like a futuristic boss battle. It shouldn't work, but it does. Like, this song says structure, never heard of her. It's chaotic, it's experimental, it's unhinged excellence. It's technically a remake of a song from Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw, but Aespa and the SM production team transformed it into a cyber-futuristic anthem. When fans first heard it, the reaction was split. A lot of us were confused. Weeks later, some loved it and some hated it. Months later, I can fully say we all got it. Because everyone and their cousin, and I mean everyone, were singing to this song. Aespa didn't just drop a music video, they launched a universe. Next Level wasn't just a concept about confidence or love. The visuals were futuristic, almost alien metallic suits, glitch, transitions, AI counterparts. It was ambitious, bold, and confusing in the best way possible. While other girl groups were grounded in reality, Aespa said reality, we don't know her. They blurred the line between human and digital, layering the foundation for SM's metaverse idol experiment. And love it or hate it, you remembered it. And that's what makes it legendary. And also, we can't talk about this song and not talk about the vocal. Because people forget that Next Level isn't an easy song, it's vocally demanding. The tempo switches, the melody changes, the tone shifts. Aespa didn't just survive this chaotic song structure, they ate it alive. Winter and Ning Ning's vocals were Olympic level, Karina and Yuzel's tones, the swagger was unmatched. This comeback wasn't just visuals and lore, this was vocal flexing with lore. Because Aespa bodied the song. The lyrics are literally about fighting evil AIs in Kwangya, but emotionally, it's about being that girl. When Next Level exploded, it didn't just go viral, it became a phenomenon. It became a meme, a TikTok trend, a pop culture slogan. But beyond the memes, it changed the perception of Aespa overnight. It went on to dominate charts, earn daysangs, and influence countless new groups to experiment with complex, non-lingering song structures. Like, if you didn't randomly sing about Navis and Kwangya at least once in 2021, were you even online? Heck, they even had to ban Next Level for a short time just so kids could focus on their exams because this song was so damn catchy. And Next Level checks all the boxes. It had musical innovation, it shattered the traditional verse-chorus formula, and introduced multi-layered cinematic structure into mainstream pop. It had a cultural impact. It became instantly recognizable, the kind of song everyone can quote, dance to, or parody. It had a group identity. It made Aespa. The confidence, futuristic world building, the vocal dominance, all born from this track. Next Level proved that weird works. It proved that experimental can be mainstream, and it introduced a new kind of girl group, futuristic, cinematic, strange, and unapologetically bold. In 2019, when the fourth generation of K-pop was still defining its sound and identity, one group entered the scene with the battle cry. 80s Wonderland wasn't just another comeback, it was a manifesto, a declaration of ambition, of hunger, and of unity. It was the moment 80s stopped being rookies and became revolutionaries. Wonderland opens with the unmistakable sound of a military march, commanding brass, thunderous percussion, and layered choral backing. It's not the sound of celebration, it's the sound of ascent. Where many K-pop groups lean into sleek production and polished pop structures, Wonderland embraced chaos with precision. Every beat is in the order, every drop a rallying cry. The production is cinematic, a fusion of orchestral grandeur and modern trap rhythm. It doesn't invite the listener to dance, it commands them to move. Musically, Wonderland thrives on tension and release. The verse marches forward with military discipline, but the chorus explodes into controlled rebellion. It has that feeling of running towards something bigger than yourself. The power of Wonderland lies not only in its instrumental, but in its voices. Jungkook's high notes soar above the chaos, a symbol of triumph, breaking through noise. Hongjoon's and Minji's verses carry the song urgency, their tones deep and commanding. And also Songwha's sharp tone, Yeosang's clarity, it's organized insanity. There is no softness in their delivery, yet no loss of control either. The vocal execution mirrors the theme of the song, fierce, disciplined, but never reckless. It's a rare blend, emotion shaped into structure. And we can't talk about Wonderland and not talk about the performance, okay? Because Wonderland wasn't made for casual listening, it was made for the stage. When 80s brought Wonderland to the stage, they transformed performance into narrative. The synchronized storms, the soldier line formations, the camera zooming on Hongjoon's insane charisma, like documenting a revolution. And don't even get me started on San's overwhelming energy. That man performs like the stage owes him money. Wonderland became the performance benchmark, the reason people start calling 80s 4th-gen performance kings. They didn't just earn that title, they proved it with every sweat drop on that stage. Wonderland became a blueprint for 4th-generation performance intensity. It inspired a wave of cinematic stagecraft, the idea that K-pop could feel like theater, that choreography could tell a story. They redefined what it meant to perform with purpose. And also, their Kingdom performance and the Mama performance of Wonderland, still to this day one of their best. If you haven't, you should go check it out. 80s showed that you don't need a massive company or years of hype to dominate, just hunger, vision, and a brass section that sounds like a final boss theme. It was a reminder that they were still the underdogs, still the rookies, still the ones everyone underestimated. And that's what made it so powerful. Wonderland became the anthem of ambition, not just for 80s, but for every group that wanted to rise. I mean, every time I hear that drop beat start, I get chills, literally, because it's the embodiment of motion, of striving, of rising, of refusing to be forgotten. It captured our group's transformation from hopeful rookies into fearless leaders of a new generation. In the world of K-pop, Wonderland wasn't just heard, it was felt. A sound that didn't just define the 80s, but the very spirit of the 4th generation itself.
So narcissistic, my god, I love it. 서로를 비춘 밤 아름다운 까만 눈빛.
Love Dive dropped in 2022. The world stopped. No, really, like actually stopped. The synth hit, the visuals were immaculate, and the vibes, royal, ethereal, dangerous. This was IVE stepping into the scene like they owned it, which, let's be honest, they kinda did. They didn't just release a song, they built an empire off of one chorus, and the gag, everyone wanted to love dive right into it. This was a moment when main character complex became a genre. Let's rewind, it's early 2022. The K-pop girl scene is stacked. We've got Aespa being AI girl bosses, ITZY still shouting confidence, and NewJeans hasn't even debuted yet. Then IVE, barely months old, walks in. Oh, you wanted luxury? Here's luxury. Their debut 11 already made noise, but Love Dive was the confirmation. This was when people realized IVE isn't a rookie group, they're a movement. While everyone else was fighting for virality, IVE went for immortality. If we're talking about sound, the song's production is straight up luxurious. The bass line is hypnotic, the vocals are silky, and the melody, pure royal seduction. When Wonyoung opens with narcissistic, my god I love it, it's not just a lyric, it's an announcement. They're saying self-love isn't cringe, it's couture, and that's what made it so addicting. The song doesn't beg for attention, it commands it. And here's where Love Dive really flexes its genius. It's not your typical love song, it's dark love. The kind that's bold, self-obsessed, and intoxicating. I've turned narcissism into empowerment. They basically said you should fall in love with yourself the way you wish others would. That's not a lyric, that's a mindset. Oh, and the visuals? Oh, honey, this wasn't a MV. It was a Vogue spread with a beat drop. The MV uses dark, elegant visuals and symbolism to represent themes of falling in love, self-love, and independence, with the members portrayed in a glamorous setting, often surrounded by water, mirrors, and dramatic lighting. The video symbolism hints at themes from Greek mythology such as Narcissus and Echo, while also delivering a message of empowerment and encouraging viewers to dive into love or their own self-love fearlessly. Everything was giving royalty meets rebellion. Every frame looked like it cost someone's entire college tuition. This is one of those music videos where every time you pause, it's a wallpaper. And the way I perform this song is like they know they're that group, and guess what? They are. Because the impact was instant. Like, we're talking nationwide chokehold. Love Dive topped every chart, snatched multiple daytimes, and turned IVE into it girls of the first gen. Love Dive aged like fine champagne, expensive, addictive, and dangerously smooth. Even now, it doesn't sound dated. It sounds like it invented time. IVE captured the art of self-obsession and made it poetic. They turned vanity into vision, and honestly, that's genius behavior. Love Dive was more than a hit. It was a cultural moment. A reminder that confidence doesn't have to be loud. It can be graceful, quiet, and terrifyingly powerful. IVE didn't just dive into love, they dove into legend status. So yeah, Love Dive isn't just a K-pop classic. It's a personality trait. When people talk about 4gen K-pop classics, we always name the obvious ones. Next Level, Love Dive, High Boy, but somehow Stereotype, the song that literally builds the pastel pop empire, gets criminally underrated. It was a cultural reset. In an era when most girl groups were either chasing hyperfemininity or girl crush aesthetics, STAYC carved their own lane, mixing innocence, confidence, and a self-aware message that hit every listener. Released in September 2021, STAYC's Stereotype was produced by Black Eyed Peas song, the genius duo behind Twice's early hits. Stereotype introduced a polished yet nostalgic sound that became a STAYC signature. The mix of bright synth with mythic buzz, like no one was doing it like STAYC in 2021. Cute concept, check. Deep lyrics, check. Vocals that sound like they were auto-tuned by angels, double check. STAYC didn't rely on heavy EDM drops or rap breaks. Instead, the melody carried the emotion. The chorus, with its instantly iconic line, "I'm a little different, I love me," became a self-love anthem disguised as bubblegum pop. The song doesn't need a drop, doesn't need noise. It's just very smooth, melodic, and emotional in a very digestible way. It's like Y2K meets self-love anthem meets skincare commercial, and I mean that as the highest compliment. One thing that truly made Stereotype unforgettable was STAYC's vocal color. Aespa's bridge could literally cure depression. Seung's powerhouse belts to Yoon's sharp clarity contributed to a perfect vocal blend. And the visual styling, absolutely on point. The mix of school uniforms, denim fits, and pastel tones gave the girls a youthful aesthetic without over-sexualizing them. And the lyrics of Stereotype hit harder when you realize how meta they are. These are idols, young women who live under constant public scrutiny, singing, "Don't judge me by how I look, I'm a little different, I love me." This message resonated with me because it's powerful, because they're not rejecting femininity, they're reclaiming it. STAYC wasn't saying, "I'm not like other girls," they were saying, "I'm exactly like other girls, and that's okay." So yeah, Stereotype still hits because it's the perfect mix of nostalgia and femininity. It doesn't try to prove anything, it just is. And that's what makes it timeless. It's that song you can play when you're sad, when you're confident, when you're missing 2021 sparkle. It just fits every mood. If that's not 4gen classic behavior, I don't know what is. Stereotype is a combination of timeless production, meaningful lyricism, and authentic identity. STAYC didn't try to fit the 4gen mold, they balanced concept and creativity in a way that makes them stand out. Even years later, the song still feels relevant, and that's the mark of a true classic. It's more than just a track, it's a cultural blueprint for what good pop should be: catchy, confident, and honest.
Everglow forever, let's go. Got no time for haters, 모두 다 집어치워버려.
In September 2020, Everglow released La Di Da. A song at the time didn't seem to make much noise on the charts, but years later, it's increasingly being recognized as one of the most defining and forward-thinking K-pop songs of the fourth generation. And if we're being honest, this song was way too ahead of its time. To understand La Di Da's importance, we have to look at K-pop sound in 2020. Around that time, girl groups were experimenting heavily with EDM-inspired noise music. Songs built around loud drops, heavy synth, and rapid genre shifts. Think ITZY's Wannabe, Blackpink's How You Like That, or even Everglow's own Dun Dun that was released the same year. It was an era dominated by intensity and performance power, but it often left little room for melody and cohesion. La Di Da came right as that wave was peaking, and instead of following it, Everglow made a sharp left turn. It was an era when a lot of K-pop groups were taking part of the retro trend, and Everglow introduced something different: retro futurism. It mixed the weekend-style retro beats with K-pop's intensity way before the 80s revival hit everyone else. A sleek cinematic take on the 1980s synth-pop sound, combined with the power of modern K-pop choreography and visuals. The chorus is both catchy and cinematic, a balance that I sense in songs like IVE's Afterlike and Nugent's ETA, both of which also blend vintage textures with modern pop sensibility. In 2020, however, that sound was still relatively rare in mainstream K-pop. Everglow were among the first 4Gen groups to commit fully to this retro futuristic concept. La Di Da music video is one of the most visually striking of its generation. The song's visuals are inspired by a blend of retro aesthetic and future-forward fashion, seen in the styling and color palette of the music video and promotional images. The members channel a confident, almost cinematic feminine fatale energy. The visuals take cues from neo-noir cinema, particularly the cyberpunk aesthetic seen in films like Blade Runner and Sin City. The color palette of red, black, and neon yellow reinforces that contrast between past and future, a key element of the retro futurism the song embodies. Oh, and I almost forgot about that insane choreography. It was so visually stunning. They ate that shit. Seyoung and Mihia were singing like their lives depended on it, because everything was giving main character monologue before a boss battle. And here's the thing, La Di Da didn't top every chart, but impact, different story. Its critical and cultural impact grew over time. Critics praised the song for its production quality and distinct concept. Billboard even named one of the best K-pop songs of 2020, calling it a bold throwback with modern edge. Among fans, the song became a cult favorite, widely regarded as one of Everglow's best performances and one of the strongest examples of 4Gen's early experimentation. And the crazy part, Everglow did it without the budget or backing of the Big Four. In a sea of manufactured hits, La Di Da felt authentic. It wasn't trying to go viral, it's just that good. Everglow may not be the most commercially dominant group, but their artistic risk with La Di Da made them pioneers of the 4th generation. La Di Da wasn't just another comeback, it was a creative milestone. It proved that even outside the biggest entertainment companies, a girl group could deliver world-class production, concept, and performance. It's 2021, the world of 4Gen K-pop was getting louder, bolder, and darker, and right in the middle of it, a rookie boy group Enhypen dropped one of the most hauntingly beautiful songs of the era, Drunk Days. Drunk Days captured the chaos of fame, youth, and identity, all wrapped in a sound so intoxicating it felt like being pulled into a fever dream. Produced by Wonder Kid and Bang Chae-hyuk, Drunk Days combines a chaotic pop rock bass with a haunting EDM energy that mirrors the feeling of being lost in fame, dizzy, overwhelmed, and thrilled all at once. The chorus doesn't drop the way you expected. It erupts like a sonic explosion that makes you feel exactly what the lyrics describe: being drunk, dazed, and unable to tell fantasy from reality. The layering, the distortion, the way the beat almost swallows the vocals, it's musical storytelling at its best. It's not just catchy, it's unsettlingly addictive. And Hyphen's entire lore blurs the line between fantasy and reality, and Drunk Days is that concept at its peak. The music video plays like a metaphor for debut fame. The party looks glamorous, but the boys seem lost in it, trapped in a loop of chaos. Their vampire symbolism isn't just aesthetic, it's about survival, how fame feeds you but also consumes you. And through that lens, Drunk Days become more than a song, it's a commentary on youth under the spotlight. It's beautiful, it's disturbing, and it's very, very Enhypen. The choreography of Drunk Days is pure kinetic storytelling, sharp yet fluid, chaotic yet synchronized. Each move feels like a struggle for control. Their bodies move as if possessed by the beat, symbolizing how fame consumes them. The performance of Drunk Days is one of those performances where you can't look away. And girl, when this song dropped, it did what every classic does. It stuck. Fans turned it into an anthem for 4Gen darker cinematic sound. Critics call it one of the best K-pop songs of 2021. It didn't just elevate Enhypen, it shows that a rookie group could deliver. Even now, when fans talk about 4Gen masterpieces, Drunk Days will always come up. Because it wasn't a trend, it was a statement. Drunk Days is what happens when storytelling, sound, and emotion collide perfectly. It's the kind of song that doesn't just define a comeback, it defined an era. And for Enhypen, it proved that even in a world drunk on perfection, chaos can still be beautiful. Every generation in K-pop has its turning points. Songs that don't just trend but transform the sound of an era. For 4th Gen, it wasn't about following formulas, it was about defining identity in chaos, pushing sound, storytelling, and aesthetics into something unapologetically experimental and sometimes beautifully messy. These classics, from the glossy confidence of Love Live to the bittersweet chaos of Drunk Days to the raw defiance of Antifragile, are more than just hits. They are emotional timestamps, a reminder of how the generation turned uncertainty into art. Because every beat, every lyric, every comeback carries something deeper. The sound of a generation that's still finding itself, but doing it louder, bolder, and more emotionally honest than ever. Was the 4th generation the best era of K-pop? Well, no. But it stands as one of their more experimental, fun, and interesting era, and honestly, it's my favorite era. So, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and please tell me what you think about this video. If you guys want a part 2 to other classes that I have maybe missed and not added to this video, please tell me in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, loves!